The EcoCha Tea Club brings you singular batches of specialty Taiwan tea, along with their stories about what makes them special. And batch 60 of the EcoCha Tea Club is an eco-farmed specialty roast oolong tea. Eco-farmed is the word that we use to refer to tea that has been sourced from a certified organic tea farm. And specialty roast, in this particular case, describes a roasting method that we've never seen before. Our friend sourced a coffee roasting machine, a machine designed for roasting coffee beans, and has been experimenting and researching with it for a couple of years now. And this batch tells us, at least, that he's mastered an alternative roasting technique. Basically, the machine has two ceramic-coated heating elements, bars, one in the front and one in the back. And then it's a big wheel with 5 cylindrical containers in it that have perforated stainless steel. So the tea leaves are put into these cylinders, and the cylinders rotate slowly, as well as the entire the rack that holds 5 or 6 of these cylinders. So it's small amounts, relatively, 5 being about 3 kilos of dried tea leaves in one cylinder, slowly turning and then rotating on a, what's the thing they call for a rotisserie, basically. He roasted these tea leaves 4 times for 8-hour intervals to get a really rich and balanced flavor. He used his crop of Spring 2020 Four Seasons Spring tea leaves. Four Seasons Spring is a cultivar that occurred by accident. There's a story that goes that a tea farmer noticed one bush in his tea garden that was producing unusually prolifically, and he took cuttings from that and started cultivating it. And long story short, it's quite a popular strain, especially at lower elevations. This tea is from Songboling in Mingjian Township, southern Nantou County. I'm going to take a sip. Yes, still quite thick and balanced. That's brew number 5. I put 10 grams of tea leaves in a 150 milliliter clay teapot, as you can see. And started off paying attention to the brewing times, about 1 minute. And 4 and 5 went for a little bit longer. But it's definitely held its own. It hasn't gotten overly bitter or astringent. It's got a really nice thick mouthfeel and a distinctly tangy note, something like a slightly underripe plum, yet balanced with this very like a sugary sweet kind of aftertaste. So the first thing that I thought of when I did the tasting notes for this tea was plum cobbler. It has some pastry in there. It's definitely got a baked or roasted character, and then with this fruity, tangy flavor note. Yeah, the tangy note is very distinct. It's really bright. It really wakes you up. It's almost tart now that I'm on the 5th brew. So I'm going to taste this one more time as an individual brew. I also poured off the remaining amount of brew 2, 3, 4, and 5. I now have a full mug of tea. I like to do this as a regular practice, particularly when I'm paying attention to the tea for the first time, to really get the full spectrum of its flavor profile. The aroma has a distinctly roasted, smoky note, kind of campfirey. It's cooled down a little bit now. Yet there's something fresh still there, like a fresh cut fruit would. It's really soft and balanced. It's quite a nice aromatic profile coming off the brewed leaves. I'm going to have a look at these brewed leaves now that we're finished with the brew. I intentionally brewed early before starting to talk so that I could take a look at the brewed tea leaves. These are machine harvested tea leaves that were de-stemmed, so they were put through a computer scanner and the stems were removed before roasting. This farm has been naturally farmed for 4 years now, and in this case that term means this is the only farmer. He's the most intensely, well, he's just serious about his natural farming practice. He not only does not administer fertilizers or any kind of pest control, he does not irrigate. And at this elevation, that's basically unheard of. It gets hot during the summer, particularly at 400 meters elevation here in Taiwan. This area is only about 10 kilometers away from where I'm sitting now as the crow flies. Some plants on conventionally grown tea farms die in the summer due to the consistent heat that the root base can't take it, even when they are irrigated. And our friend proudly told us that his plants are doing okay because as he observes it, the roots have sunk into the ground significantly deeper because he doesn't water the plants, and that is their natural way to grow, and they're able to survive long hot spells and dry spells as well. The four-season spring, as they say in Chinese, has a yexing, or a kind of wild character to it. It acts more like a wild plant than the other popular cultivars, particularly much more than Qingxin Oolong. So it produces a lot. It offers a lot of leaves per bush, and that's one reason it's popular in the agricultural scene here. It allows farmers to get the most out of their yield per area. And it has a very floral character when made into a qingshangxing, or an unroasted oolong. A very flowery, very perfumey flavor profile. And that is very likely why this well-roasted batch, this is, I would consider, a heavy roast tea. It's over 30 hours of roasting, and had gone up to, I think he said he brought it up to 140 degrees in that special roaster. So that's about as high as you get in terms of roasting tea leaves. Roasted, fruity character. That's basically what it has. And it's, again, the mouthfeel is really smooth, unusually smooth for this elevation of tea. That's what sold me when I first tasted it. I smelled it as he was brewing it in his home, and I was like, that smells delicious. And as soon as I took that first sip, I thought, this is like a high quality Dongding Oolong, that kind of thick character to the water. So I would say that it's distinct from a Qingxin Oolong, given that it is four-season spring cultivar. And the roasting technique is, like I said, unique. And we love to find something like that. He's very pioneering in both his farming practices and his processing methods. And he talks more about finding out what each cultivar, he has four-season spring, Jinxuan, Cui Yu, which is becoming less and less common, and Wei cultivars. And he's really paying attention to not only their growing patterns and how they behave as a living thing, but also how they respond to variations in processing methods. So he has talked to us at length and repeatedly about how important it is to pay attention to that, when to do the pruning, what time of the year is best to allow the plant to reap the benefits of pruning, and to be able to accept the impact of it as well. And then what to do with these leaves, depending on when they were harvested, what the weather conditions were during the growing season, and what cultivar they are. I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of the combined brew here. Wow. Much more of the deep roasted character comes through. It's a very hearty brew. It's similar to a charcoal roast in that kind of smoky character that it has to it, but it has a tangy, dry finish that makes it interesting. I'm gonna take another sip. It's that thing where you just want to keep going. We think it's quite an interesting batch of tea, and that's what the Tea Club is all about, finding batches of tea that you don't normally find or never find in many cases on the market, and sharing them with our members. So there we have it, an eco-farmed specialty roast oolong tea from Somboling in Mingjian Township, 400 meters elevation, spring 2020, roasted repeatedly for a total of over 30 hours in a special coffee roaster. So we think this batch of tea is literally unique and won't be found anywhere else other than this particular source. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, click that like button, and share this video with anyone that you think might be interested in watching it. And please leave your comments about this batch of tea or questions that you may have in the comments section below or on our blog posts. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next month.